Hey guys, onto something a little different, and this being a yard sale find that I got about a week ago, and it is an electric bike that folds up, 24 volt. I'm not sure what the power on the back wheel is, how many amp the motor or watt the motor is. I know it's 24 volt is the battery setup that was on it, and it came pretty much complete, but the battery, you plug it in, it would say it had a full charge on the battery, but then you plug it in and the back wheel just was very lethargic and had no power to it. So I measured the battery said it had 25 volts around there, but then I decided to crack it open. I thought maybe it is have the voltage but there's no amperage behind it. So I cracked the battery that was in it open and found that one of them, here it is, you can see the cell is just cracked right in half. So it basically just had a poor battery. It's got no guts behind it. But fortunately the bike also came with another battery, which is this one over here, and that one is a 36 volt battery, which I think is for more of the modern style electric bikes that are available. So I just went probing that. I wanted to see if everything worked. That has a charger too. Charge that battery up. It is at, I think, about 40 volts is on that. So I want to go see if the bike and components are okay. So I want to try to hook 24 volts to the system first and see if it recovers. That's why you see the two bare wires here, and what I have is two jumper packs. One there and one there. So I'm going to go hook those up in series and make 24 volts, and then we'll see if the throttle and the motor and all that kind of stuff works. So let me get that hooked up and I'll turn you right back on. Alright, so here's the deal. So we got the positive coming off of this battery pack. The negative from this pack is hooked to the positive of the other one, and then the negative from that pack is hooked up. So the difference between here and here now is 24 volts, and should duplicate what was the on-and-off switches over here. No smoke, and it's got a throttle. So that looks like it works pretty good. But what I was afraid of, the speed of that wheel looks like what, 10 miles an hour? And then after you put a load on it, what's it going to be? So what I want to go and try and do is overvolt it with the other pack, and we'll see what we get. We'll see if we smoke it, see what happens. But you know, I could put it back together the way it is and put a 24 volt battery in it, but what fun would that be? Let's try and make something different. So I'm going to reconfigure it again with that battery. I already have two leads on it and was testing to see what I got and try to figure out what's positive and negative. So that one's hot, that one's negative. And again, between that, it's at a full charge, it's saying about 39-40 volts. They call it a 36 volt battery. And let's go hook that up and see what happens. All right, that guy's hooked up. Not the thickest of wires, but let's see what we get. No smoke. Oh, that's much better. Looks like you can still crawl it too if you want to go slow. Alright. Let's see if there's a voltage on that. And what's nice is when you let off the voltage, it coasts. It's not like it's going to stop you dead. So here's my thought. I kind of like old muscle bikes. This thing, yeah, it's alright if you want to have a camper and you fold it up and you want to go putt around a campground or something, but I want to make it a little bit more fun than that. And I was thinking kind of like muscle bikey kind of setup. So I was thinking, what if I use that? Old muscle bikes had like a bigger back tire and a smaller front tire, like a little choppery kind of setup. So I was thinking, could I use that for the front tire? How would that work out? Kind of have that correct look of like an orange crate or whatnot, which had the little brake drum in the front and that smaller wheel. So I'm going to go over to the Horde and see what we have for bike parts and frames and stuff, and see if that would be feasible. And again, what we'll do is we'll make that the front wheel drive of it, and then leave the back just a regular pedaling like you normally would. So in my pile of junk back here is a couple of muscle bikey type of frames, one being Columbia and one being a Schwinn. And I like that front end on the Schwinn right there. Whether that's an original one or not, I don't know. I don't think so, because this dimension doesn't look right. But it's got a cool looking front end, don't it? And I wonder if I can kick that wide enough for that to fit that little tiny front tire. And then we can kind of build out. I'm not sure which frame we could kind of use yet. If I do the gold one, I probably don't have to do paint. That one's got a crank in it. That one doesn't have a crank in it. And then I do have a Chinese replica right here of a kind of like a muscle bike kind of deal. So that might be able to be used for the parts too. So I'm gonna go poke around and see what I can dig up, and we'll drag some stuff in the garage and let's see what we can do. So I got my two victims, and I figure I don't really have to make any decision on that stuff yet. The only thing I really need to try to make is get that back tire on this Springer front end. So I figure what we can do is do our best to remove this from the bike and see what we have just as a package in itself, as far as you know, wiring and that kind of stuff. More than likely it's just going to be this one going up into this conglomeration, which is going to be the gray wire. So the gray wire is going to have those three. So we got yellow to yellow, green to green, blue to blue. They're self-explanatory. And then this plug right here. So that should allow it to break free from the bike part of it, and we'll get the wheel out of there. We also got a brake cable to deal with. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go see if we can get the wheel out of there, and we'll mock that up to the front end and see how much stretching we got to make. So I snuck that out of there, and the only thing I left on the bike for now is the brake drum. I have a feeling I'm not going to end up using the brake anyway, being the Springer front end. I don't know how that would respond. So this is the hub that rides on, and here's the brake drum. So you kind of pull the cable, and you can see that the inside diameter that shrinks down onto this band. But again, that's not our main concern. The width is probably the biggest issue. I'd say we're probably 7 inches across, and that stock front end is probably about 4. So I've got to kick it out about 1.5 inches on each side, unless I could shrink this down a little bit, but I'm not sure about that. I would say we probably be able to get that sprocket off of there. It also has to be where you have threads too, you know. And the last thing is, because it's a powered motor, there's a key. It's keyed or slotted, and that's going to have to be a tight fit, because you don't want that when you power up the motor twisting out of the hole. So in other words, it's spinning against that axle, so that axle has to be pretty stout in whatever it's mounted in. So I'm going to go flip them around. I'm going to go take the green bike with the front end on there. We'll put it up on the lift and try to baby the wires on that, and get that tire off of there and see what we got to do to try to make them fit. So this one is, I'm going to call it 5.5, and the spread here right now is 3.5, so I got to gain about 1 inch on each side. This is kind of put together all screwed up anyway. They have the bottom's connected to the top and top's connected to the bottom. One of these is backwards. You can see the hole's elongated on that one and round on that one. And then up top, that one looks normal. And that one looks like it just fell off and they stuck it on there. I'm kind of wondering if I could disassemble the center of this, maybe widen it here. Instead of trying to bend the forks out and kick them out, maybe I could just widen the whole thing. So that's what I'm going to go look into, do some disassembly, or maybe we could even grab a little bit of both. Maybe we can kick it out a little bit here and then also bend them, a combination. Yeah, stuck in the vise, and get a better look at what we're trying to go for. That's the width that it's going to be. So the way that was held together is they had a bolt going through that bottom swivel. One side is threaded, so it went through and then it had a jam nut on it. That's how it adjusted the pressure from left to right. I'm looking for the piece that here it is. Here's the neck. So that was right up against it and the other one against the other side, and that's how they took the play out of it, by adjusting the thread on that side. So I figured I'd take the whole neck right out, and that was not a small undertaking because the thread went goofy on it, and I had to go and heat the ring up red, get it off of there, use a new ring, and then come back with a thread file and clean it up so it's good again. But took a little bit of work. Thread file, this is what a thread file is. This has different profiles on it, and you could work boogered up threads to bring them back. So what I'm thinking now is I'm going to try to get like 2 1-inch spacers that are roughly that distance, and we'll kind of go from there and see if we can make a bolt going across it and just make it wider. So this is kind of like what the look I'm going for. This is it's an Apple Crate. One of the Crate bikes, but you can kind of get the idea what I'm talking about with the front hub of the wheel, and it has that same kind of look to it. And it's a smaller tire than what the back tire would be. And then of course like a Schwinn or Columbia frame, again having that muscle bike kind of look. So here's where we are. Again, I had to kick it all wider. I don't know if I like or dislike the width of it. Don't worry about these guys. But because this doesn't look bad. It's kicked out about 3/4 of an inch on each side, and then so it's an inch on the top, goes to about 3/4 of here, and then it goes down to about 1/2 inch. So it kind of tapers as it goes up. I don't think that'll be a problem. This is just holding everything up. This has nothing to do with the wheel. Just keeps the whole something from flopping down. So I'm kind of liking it. I'll chase, you know, once I finalize everything, I'll make correct size bushings and whatnot for all this stuff. But there's no sense doing that now until you come up with a conclusion of what you're looking for. I figure I can take these guys, the only thing I am seeing right now on this side, because the wire runs through it, and it's got a plug on the end of it. That won't go over the top of this, so I may just drill that and put it right there. That should be good. Now we'll just, you know, run another bolt, or I could do something fancy. I could do some other kind of support for this arch. I could make my own or whatnot. So that's future in the line. So I think I want to hang it on a frame right now. We'll see what it looks like. I just kind of stuck that on there, trying to get the idea. I like it. It's small, ain't it? Doesn't help that the seat's all the way down too. I have to stretch it back a little bit. Probably take the seat, mount that there, kick the whole seat back a little further. But right now I'm just kind of concentrating on the look of the front end. I think it'll be just fine. Just snake the wires up one of the forcing. Alright, well, I'm going to go contemplate that in my mind for this evening because I'm going in to go eat. But I may or may not continue from here. Probably so. I don't think there's that much on this video. And it's the next day. I did some thinking over the night what I want to do. This frame is Columbia made in USA kind of deal, and I was gonna need some donor parts for it, and I had a cheap knockoff China bike I was thinking about stealing some of the stuff from. The problem with that is everything is metric on it, and they don't jive well with each other. So I was thinking what I had for a Victim, as you see in the bottom right now, and this is a Huffy Girls Sun, I don't know, little Driving Miss Daisy we'll call it. And I grabbed this at a yard sale. It's got good rims. I kind of cleaned it up real quick. I think I paid 20 bucks for it at a yard sale. Cactus flower. And no buyers. Put it out front for the house for like 80 bucks. I put it on Craigslist. just no one's really interested in it. So I figure I would take it and make it a sacrificial lamb. I already yanked the handlebars out of it that you can see. I need the pedal crank, I need the back rim, back tire set up. So I figure we will do our shopping over here and use this for the victim. So enough of that. I figure we'll start disassembling and stealing the parts and swap them over. I would like to have had, and I still can find one later on, a like a nice 3-speed back rim, and that way I can go put a shifter on the frame and have it more muscular-y kind of looking. But I can keep an eye out for that at the scrapyard for a little bit, and I can always swap that later. Again, we're just trying to fill in all the voids right now, so let me go fill some voids in. So I popped it off the stand, stuck it on the ground, and wanted to kind of sit on it and make sure I have enough room for me to fit on it, because I'm going to be the one riding it. But I still kind of like it to look small and look to scale, like I said, with the original muscle bike kind of theme. I do like it. I think it's we're fitting the bill pretty good. A couple things to, again, still would want to chase would be a 3-speed rear wheel. And I also noticed that a girl's back rim is a lot less spoked than the boy's back rim. I guess driving Miss Daisy didn't get beat on as much as a boy's bike would. So that's on the list. I'd like to, with that, I have a, in my stash is a shifter that you use to convert your handlebar shifter back into the nutcracker that used to be, I think it was 76 and down, was you could have a shifter on the frame, and then they outlawed them. So I like to be an outlaw, I guess. So I'm gonna keep shopping for bike parts, bike frames. Everything fits together scale wise. I kind of like handlebars are probably a little taller. So the next thing is where to put the batteries, and the thing comes in this ridiculously large suitcase of sorts. So no matter how you disguise that, I think it's just going to be too overwhelming anywhere you put it on the bike. You know, here's the battery. Here's the bike, and I was kind of thinking, you know, against the back of the sissy bar, part of the sissy bar, under the seat. Let's see if I can do this without crashing it. So it's, you know, what really, where can you put it that's gonna look halfway decent? And I don't have a good explanation for that without taking away from the lines of the bike. I mean, it's places you could put it. I'm sure under that front tube or something along that level. But I'm thinking maybe we take the bottom cap off that battery and we see if maybe that battery is in segments, and if it is, possibly we can break it up into a couple of different components and get it out of that case and just make our own type of case. And right off the top of my head, I'm kind of thinking maybe putting little saddlebags or something on it, and you know, hide the batteries inside the saddlebags. But not sure of that yet either. Back in the day, here, Paper Delivery Boy, you would have some baskets on the back, on the sides for delivering newspaper. So that's also a thought. I could probably put those on the side and maybe put some newspapers in it, and then hide the batteries inside the newspapers. Don't know. So with that, I think I'm going to go pop the end cover off that battery and see what the inside of that looks like. Alright, so I knew somewhere I spotted and had the old school newspaper boy rack. We're getting a little worse for wear, but that's okay. We could bend that back together, and I think, because I'm not going to paint this bike or anything, and it might actually just fit right in with the aesthetics that we're looking for. But it will have to be cut to get it in there, because this is meant for kind of a different style of bike. But I'm thinking if you can kind of get it right about there. Right about there. That kind of, that front's meant to attach to the frame, come up over the wheel. Keep the center of gravity low. But you got to kind of squeeze it around the we'll work the sissy bar in around that, but again, that's getting ahead of us. So I just wanted to do a little bit of hunting first and make sure that I did have that available to me. So now I'm going to go cut open the battery. Alright, screws are backed off. Ow. Now I know there's a power connection right here that it would normally screw down into. About to play. What do you think? Jam a screwdriver into a battery? Does that sound like a good idea? Probably not. It's got screws on the top section too. I hope that's not one long, big ass battery, but it could be. Alright, I'm gonna go into the top. Might be a good idea to take the fuses out of it. What do you think? Maybe not. Pull the sides off. Shove that right through, can't we? See little individual indentations. What do you say? Cut the skirt off her? Funny how you could have a toolbox marked and the stuff in the same drawer. 10 years. Yet you continually open the wrong drawer. I got two razor blades stuck together. See tape. Bunch of wires running around. Probably would have been a good idea to Google what was inside them. Yeah, but what phone would that be? I don't know if you guys could see it. Alright, I see 4 wires going in. Let's cut where the tape is. You guys still see? Yeah. Looks like a cover of sorts. Anticipation's killing you, ain't it? 2 batteries. I expected to see 3 12 volts instead of 2, I don't know what you want to call them. Unless they're, I wonder if they're, aha! Cool. I'll show you in a second. You guys are like, what? Wow, what are you seeing? I'm gonna be careful on cutting wires. It's a bunch of like stacked batteries, it looks like. But even if I have to take it in 2 sections, that's okay. I could split it. One on one side, one on the other. I just don't know how they're connected. If you could peek in between there. I don't want to, if it's got a fragile connection, I don't want to kill a connection, you know what I mean? Well, I would think that we can kind of call it 2 separate packs. Probably the little wires are chargers. Some kind of controlling circuit up there. That's probably all for charging, the charging part of it. And that's our power to our motor. I had actually picked off of the charge port up on the top to run the motor, but it read the same voltage. So I'm going to take a little bit of time, take a tape measure, and maybe kind of slice that open a little bit further and see if we can just maybe isolate that maybe for now into 2 packages. And again, we can kind of work with those much smaller on the bike than trying to work with, you know, that overall length of system there. Decisions. I just put a little poking and prodding. That back section did just come right off and be able to stack right next to it. And I'm sure I can kind of get these sections apart, but I don't think I want to kind of want to go and do that, just because down inside they have a bunch of very fine. There's actually little circuit boards I see on each one. A little hard to tell. See the green popping out. And it might just be connectors, I don't know. But I think I may want to not screw with that too much, because if you kill them, then that's it, and game over, and we're not doing this project anymore, because I'm not spending $500 on a battery. It's just not happening. The size of them, looks like we're talking 7. The other one's probably going to be about 8, with all the stuff on top of it. Yeah, 6 wide, maybe a little smaller than that. Probably getting down to about 5. We'll call it 6, because we're going to need protection around them. So 8 by 6 by 3.5. Won't fit there if I had to. Ooh, that'd be tight. Possibility. I should take some 2x4s and cut up some 2x4s and see. So what would be the total length of them without all the stuff in the case? 7, 7, 14, 15. 15 would kick it out just behind the sissy bar a little bit. I could stack them on an angle, and I could still stick them in the basket like I talked about. I don't want to do a handlebar basket and have them in there. I could, but I think the center of gravity might be too much in the way. I don't know. Sometimes you just got to think on this stuff, how you want to lay it out, you know. That's what I'm going to go do. I'm going to go take a couple of blocks of wood, make them roughly that size, and screw around with it and see what I can come up with. Alright, so I think I came up with an idea. That was too big, matched the scale of the bike, and came up with a different solution. I kind of wanted something that kind of resemble saddlebags. So I went to Savers. Savers is like a secondhand store. It's cheap. So I decided to go look at women's pocketbooks. Yes, it takes a real man to go into a store, hang out with the women, and look at women's pocketbooks. So I wanted to try to find two things fairly similar. And I did. I like this one much better because it has the flap that goes over it, kind of like an actual saddlebag does. But I figured that should be enough space to stack 2 batteries in, and the other one you could hide wires and stuff in it when you're not using it. But let's go put it to the side of the bike. I think if we put them back here somewhere, like yay or nay, somewhere around there, it'll just look like a pair of saddlebags on the back of the bike once they're puffed out. Of course, they're flat right now. Like that. So one will have the stuff in it, and one will just probably be a dummy bag where I'll stash other stuff that you want to go riding with for weight purposes. And it gets the center of gravity nice and low on the bike. What do you think? I'm liking it. I may try and look. I may try to assemble this one. I don't know if they have part numbers on them or names or whatever. I like to try to be able to find another one in that same scenario. And they don't really have to match. I was kind of hoping to match the seat, which I really should have brought with me. Yeah, a little lighter would probably be good. But it kind of goes along with the color of the bike. Let me get back far enough. Don't know. So that's what I'm going for now. And then there's also a another one I can go hit. What's the? I can't remember the name at the top of my head. But another one like that, but it's a charity one. It's not really that important. But there's another one I can go look at and see if they have a stash over there too. Again, other than going to like a Walmart or something where you can get 2 of the same bags. That would look identical, but you know, that could be an option too. And I could take these back. It's not like I have to hold on to these, but they weren't terribly expensive. There were $4 and that one was $6, so $10 for the pair were into them. So probably gonna end this one right here. It's probably getting pretty long, and I don't know, maybe I'll go raid the wife's stash and see what I can go find. But if you like what you see, if you would, just give me a thumbs up and write a little comment down below. If you don't like what you see, too bad.